Have you ever had the gut feeling that something was off or felt your heart race when you're nervous, even though nothing's actually happening? Or maybe you've been lying in bed, exhausted, but unable to shut your mind down. Well, these aren't just random sensations. Your gut, heart, and brain are in constant conversation, shaping how you feel, think, and respond to life. But if that communication gets out of sync, stress, fatigue, and even illness can follow. Now, over the next few episodes, we're diving into the mind-body connection, what it is, why it matters, and how you can strengthen it to feel more balanced, resilient, and in control of your well-being. So let's get into it. Welcome to The Brain Changers, a podcast about learning how to revolutionize the way you think and live by mastering your mind. We're your hosts, mother and daughter duo Rebecca and Yvonne King from Moonbeam Monday. Our goal is to empower you to live the life you choose by teaching you how to retrain your brain. Some people tell us it sounds like mind control, and it is, but not the way you might think. This is about you taking control of your own mind rather than letting your mind control you, so you can choose to live a life free from the expectations of others. No matter what you've experienced in the past, you can create positive change and transformation by learning how to master your mind. We know this because we've done it. Between us, we've survived cancer and stroke and eliminated debilitating anxiety and depression. We've turned our pain into purpose through the power of our mind, and we're now here to support and guide you to do the same. In this podcast, we share valuable insights about how your brain works, why you think, say, and do the things you do, how to begin the process of change, and why it's necessary. Because we know that when you change your mind, you change your life. Thanks for joining us. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to the Brain Changers podcast. I'm Rebecca King, and as always, I'm here with my mum, Yvonne. And today we're tackling a big topic, one that affects literally every part of your life. We're talking about the mind-body connection.
Yes, hello everyone. You've probably heard phrases like trust your gut or follow your heart. But what if I told you those aren't just metaphors? Science actually backs what we've instinctively known for centuries, and that is that your gut, heart, and brain are all in constant communication, working together to keep you physically and emotionally well.
Yeah, and when that connection is strong, you feel clear, you feel energized, resilient. But when it's off, well, I guess let's just say that stress, anxiety, and even physical health issues can start showing up in ways that you perhaps don't even expect. So many of us, and I'm guilty of this too, tend to ignore the signs. Right? We might put it down to aging or hormones, but the question is that always the case? So today we're going to introduce you to this powerful connection, how it works, why stress messes with it big time, and what you can start doing today to strengthen it.
Yes, so let's begin with an overview of your gut, heart, and brain. Let's just call it your body's symphony. Now, you've probably heard people say, trust your gut, but did you know that your gut is actually referred to as your second brain? In actual fact, it's home to over 100 million neurons. That's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is even more than the spinal cord. And it doesn't just digest food, it produces 95% of your body's serotonin. And that's the chemical that influences our mood, our sleep, and even our decision making. And then we have the heart. Now, you might think of the heart as just a pump, but the heart is actually has its own neural network and it actually sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to it. So, in fact, your heart rate variability, or HRV, is one of the best indicators of how well we are handling stress. The more flexible your heart rate, the better your overall resilience to life's ups and downs. And then, of course, there's the brain, the command center, processing signals from the gut and the heart and everything in between. Now, the brain interprets stress and emotions and physical sensations and then sends its instructions back to your body. But here's the kicker. These three powerhouses are always in conversation with each other. When they are in sync, we feel balanced, resilient, and energetic. But when they're out of whack, well, that's when things start to go haywire, you might say. We feel stress, we feel anxiety, we could even have digestive issues, and certainly burnout. Things like this start creeping in.
Yeah, so some pretty big things there, and I think we can go for a long time, seemingly ignoring them, but they eventually catch up on us. So we all know that our body is connected. I mean, when we were kids, we all learned that song, something about the ankle bone is connected to the next bone. I
Yes,
don't
I've forgotten
remember all the
about
bones. I don't remember it. But we all learned that song, right? So we know that our body is connected. And at some stage, we've all learned a little bit about biology as well, but it runs so much deeper than most of us likely take the time to consider. So let's take a simple example. When you're nervous, and you mentioned this before, your heart starts pounding, right? When you're stressed, your stomach might feel tight or queasy. And when you eat something nourishing, your brain feels sharper. I don't know if
it.
anybody's actually noticed that, but when we eat good food, we don't have that brain fog. We feel more energized. And that is because your gut, your heart, and your brain are always in conversation. Like you said at the beginning, it's like instruments in a symphony. When you go to the symphony, if that's something that you've experienced, when you listen to a well rehearsed symphony where all the instruments are tuned, they're in good order, it is just beautiful. Is one of the most incredible experiences. But if the musicians haven't practiced enough, if their instruments are damaged, then you can find yourself in the audience cringing. And believe me, we love the symphony and we've had some good stuff, but we've had those cringy moments too, haven't we? So when all the instruments are in tune, there's nothing quite like listening to Beethoven's Symphony Number 5, for example. It can induce the most wonderful emotion. Likewise, when your body's in tune, you feel balanced, you feel focused, you're emotionally steady. But if even one instrument is off, the whole performance starts to sound, well, off, right? Just like your body can feel off. So, if you've been struggling with things like brain fog, with mood swings, low energy, or any of those things you mentioned before, even digestive issues, for example, it might not be just in your head, right? It could be a sign that your body's symphony is out of tune.
That's so true. So, when this happens, then you might be asking, well, what is the culprit? Well, it could actually be that we're suffering from chronic stress. Now, we all have stress in our life, that's quite normal. What's not normal and what we are not able to handle is when the stress never switches off, and that's called chronic stress. And this becomes a problem for us. Imagine you're in bed at night and you're so tired, you're near to collapse, but you can't switch your mind off, it just won't stop. Your heart's beating a little too fast, your stomach feels uneasy, and no matter what you do, sleep, it's not going to come to you.
Mm,
Now, this could be a sign that stress, or this chronic stress, is just not switching off. And when our body gets into the state of chronic stress, well, it sets off a chain reaction across the whole body, which, that is just normal, really, isn't it? That's what's going to happen.
yeah.
So, what happens then? Well, for a start, the gut, it can become inflamed. our digestion can slow down, and we might have to start dealing with things like bloating or nausea, even irritable bowel syndrome. Well, we know when we're under pressure, our heart beats faster, our blood pressure rises, and we might even notice that we've got a tension headache or tension in the body. And we know, of course, that the brain, it goes into overdrive. It makes it harder to think clearly. We have trouble focusing and we have trouble regulating our emotions. We can become irritable or snappy,
Mm.
bad-tempered. So this is not just feeling a little bit off. This is a signal to us that chronic stress is taking hold in our body. And this has been linked to heart disease, autoimmune conditions, anxiety, and depression.
Mm.
So, if you've ever felt exhausted but wired at the same time, like your brain is foggy but you can't seem to fully relax, then your mind body connection is out of sync. And it's our body is giving us a warning signal. And that's when it's time to really start listening to what our body is trying to tell us.
That's right. It's giving us all the signals, and it's like if we fell over and we broke our arm, we would do something about that, right? We would go to the hospital, we would get it cast, we would, leave it immobile because it's something that we can see. But quite often, these little, what we deem as little warning signals, because we can still function with
Mhm.
these things most of the time, we tend to ignore them. So how do we retune the symphony and get our body back into balance? Well, number one, feed your gut right. Okay, we've all heard the saying, you are what you eat, and it's true. And I'll be perfectly honest, this is one that I have a very interesting relationship with. I love eating nutritious food, I love cooking nutritious food, but this is probably one area that I fall down in quite often. The foods that we eat, they directly affect our gut bacteria, and this impacts everything from mood to immune function. Probiotics, fiber, and healthy fats, they help your gut produce the neurotransmitters that keep your brain and body in sync. So it is true, as we say, you are what you eat, and this is probably one of the most important things that we need to take notice of. Number two, breathe like you mean it. Now, you've probably heard us talking about breathing, and it sounds like a funny thing to say because, of course, we're actually sitting here, we're all breathing. If we're alive, we're breathing, but we're talking about more than just our normal breath. Deep breathing activates our vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is like the superhighway, it connects your gut, your heart, and your brain. Right now, intentional breathing calms the nervous system and strengthens that gut heart brain connection. So perhaps you've noticed in the past, and I even had a client tell me this just last week, where they noticed that they sigh a lot. So have you ever noticed how a long sigh feels very relieving, like you get relief from it? And there's a reason for it. That's because a longer exhale than inhale signals your body to relax and it lowers cortisol, that stress hormone. So, deep breathing can even support weight loss by shifting your body out of that fight or flight mode, right? So, there's multiple benefits. A simple 4-4-6 breathing pattern. And what I mean by that is inhaling for the count of four, holding for four, and then exhaling for six, that can actually help lower stress in minutes. So it's something that we can do when we're actually feeling stressed or anxious, but when introduced consistently, it has a long-lasting impact on our body.
Yes, it's interesting that some of the most beneficial things that we can do are actually free.
Yeah.
Uh, this is another one to move our body. And when we do that, we can actually change what's happening in our brain and mind.
Mm.
So think of it this way. Movement isn't just for fitness. Of course, we want to remain fit, but it's actually also a reset button for your nervous system. It releases brain chemicals that lower stress, balances hormones, and supports gut health.
Mm.
So a quick 20-minute walk can do more for your brain than a cup of coffee. Who
Oh,
knew?
I mean, I'm not giving up coffee anytime soon, but it's something to remember, isn't it?
In fact, so many people say that if we just walked 20 to 30 minutes every day over time, that is the actual best exercise that we can possibly partake in. And
Mm.
it's really quite a simple thing.
Mm.
The other thing that we really need to give a lot of attention to is prioritizing rest. I've heard rest and particularly sleep referred to as to treat this as we would treat a multi-million dollar asset. Can you imagine that? Have we all got multi-million dollar assets?
Mm.
We have,
Well, we do, don't we? Our sleep.
we have our sleep, and that's how we should view it. Because when we're in a state of chronic stress, this is going to be exacerbated by poor sleep and overstimulation. And there's a lot of repair work happens at night when we're asleep. Our gut repairs itself, our heart rate settles, and our brain processes emotions and memories while
Mm.
we sleep. So, just if you think missing a night or two of sleep or being a poor sleeper isn't a big deal, this may change your mind.
Mm.
Just 24 hours without sleep impairs your brain as much as being legally drunk.
Mm.
Imagine that. So this makes it much harder to focus, to make decisions, and once again to regulate our emotions. And after 48 hours, our reaction time slows dramatically. Our memory falters and our bodies start struggling to regulate stress and blood sugar. And by 72 hours, hallucinations, paranoia, and microsleeps, where your brain forces you to shut down. So that can start happening. So in chronic sleep deprivation, it's been linked from everything from weight gain, immune suppression, to anxiety, depression, and even a higher risk of Alzheimer's.
Mm.
None of these things we want, do we?
No.
So the bottom line, our body can survive actually weeks without food, but without quality sleep, it's going to start breaking down in a matter of days.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stats there. And I know they seem quite dramatic. Like, there's probably not many of us out there going 24 or 48 hours without sleep. But the same types of things are occurring when we're constantly having that sleep deprivation or that poor quality sleep. So it does have massive impacts on us. And we all know that when we've had a night of sleep, and I'll probably, I use quotation marks here, where we feel like we probably haven't been awake all night, but we feel like we've been awake all night. Or if we've woken up in the middle of the night and it's taken us a while to get back to sleep, we know that we don't function at our best the next day, do we? All those things, we're grumpy, irritable, um, you know, we could even be driving to work thinking I really shouldn't be on the road. So we know the importance of this. Now, if switching off at night is a struggle for you, and we mention this because it is a struggle for a lot of people that we work with, a lot of people out there overthinking, overanalyzed. So if that is a struggle for you, we've actually got something to help. It's our free 12-minute guided body scan meditation. So it's designed to quiet racing thoughts, relax your body, and ease you into a deep restorative sleep without that glass of wine required. Because we also know that, drinking alcohol close to going to bed can interrupt our sleep as well. So we want to give this to you. You can grab it for free using the link in the show notes. Um, so please remember to download that one. Now, lastly, number 5, creating daily moments of calm. Now, this could be anything. It could be meditation, journaling, simply being in nature, heading down to the beach for a walk, or even just sitting on your couch, having some quiet time, to slow down. It helps your nervous system reset and it keeps your body's systems communicating properly. So that beautiful symphony, right? We often leave these things until last on our list, but they're as important as everything else. Like you said, Mum, our sleep, I hadn't heard that before, but we should treat it like a multi-million-dollar asset.
Mm.
And all of these are super important. And in fact, these daily moments of calm can actually make the rest possible.
That's right. So there you have it. That's a very brief
Mm,
introduction to the mind-body connection. Your gut, heart, and brain are always communicating with each other.
mm.
The question is, are we listening?
Yes, a very good question for all of us to continue asking ourselves. So, in the next few episodes, we're going to be diving deeper into this topic because there's so much to talk about here, including how stress physically manifests in the body and what you can do about it, and more on our three brains, your head, your heart, and your gut, and how to get them working together. So, do make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss any of those episodes.
So thank you everyone for listening to the Brain Changes podcast. If you know anyone that you feel would benefit from this episode, please let them know, share it with them so that they can benefit also.
Yeah, and remember to follow us, subscribe so you never miss an episode, as I said. And we'd love to have you leave a comment or a review to help more people find us. We really appreciate it. So remember to grab the link in today's show notes to download our free 12-minute guided body scan meditation. One client at our retreat told us that she had had the best sleep she'd had in months after listening to this. So it's definitely worth a try. All right, that's it from us today. Until next time, remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Brain Changes. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation today. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest episodes. Our mission is to reach as many people as possible to help them revolutionize the way they think so they can change their brain and create profound transformation. Please help us broaden our reach by sharing this episode with someone you know will benefit. And remember to tag us on socials at Moonbeam Monday and leave a review. And remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. We'll catch you next time for another episode of The Brain Changes.